Welcome, Heddy.
Thank you.
I'm Jan Adams, and I'm a designer, author, and trainer, and I'm the founder of Image 2 Interior, the design through style strategy company. And I'm here today with the amazing Ms. Heddy. And Heddy is the president of Urban Spaces, and if you can understand what that means, she is a specialist in retail design and function. And I am just so happy to actually be here today to ask you a few questions that I've always had. You know, you walk around and you see these beautiful stores, and it doesn't matter what they are. They could be, you know, purse stores, they could be clothing, they could be health, anything. But there are certain stores that just look really pulled together and things that aren't really sort of pulled together. So what, in your experience, would you say is the biggest challenge with your industry, with the retail design industry? First of all, before I even get her to ask that, tell me a little bit about how you even got into this industry. How long have you been doing this?
I have been doing this for about 25 years. I was thinking of this morning and thinking about when I became incorporated and how exciting a career it's been. Starting out with merchandising and store windows and displays and, you know, at special events, all of which I still do, and ending up really realizing that there could be tremendous retail growth through better design.
Really?
Yeah, really.
That's your tagline, is it not?
It is my tagline, but I believe it. I totally just believe it.
Okay, so you've had 25 years experience. Man, oh man, that's a lot of experience.
Mm-hmm.
So explain your tagline.
Well, I think that really good planning of a new retail venue has the most potential for the retailer to reach financial growth.
Oh, financial growth. You're that retailer saying that's probably one of the things you're all asking. Okay, so
I think it's the only thing that should really matter. I mean, basically, there's a bottom line. If you don't have that retail growth, you're not going to be in business.
exactly. So in other words, if you just have a great idea, it doesn't mean that, you know, you just open up a blank space and, wow, you know, build it and they will come.
Mm-hmm.
There should be some design and thought process behind it.
Right.
Is that correct?
That is correct.
Yeah. Okay, so
And I feel that retail designers, there's maybe only 3 of us in this huge city of Vancouver, this metropolitan area, and people sometimes, you know, I guess I'm a trained interior decorator, but it's very different doing a home compared to a retail store, isn't it?
absolutely, I agree with you. It's a different, because one is more of a profit center and one's a relax center.
Yes, absolutely.
So, okay. So what do you think is the biggest challenge that retail design faces then? Is monetizing their space?
I think they don't really understand the process. I see people come in here all the time. You know, you can see in here that I sell or
All
I
kinds
represent all
of
kinds of stuff.
amazing. You know, like I'm walking and looking around and there's body parts everywhere.
Yeah, mannequins and store fixtures and hangers are part of the whole process of things that I can offer. But I think people don't really understand the process. They maybe don't have, you know, they come in and they think, I really love fashion and I'm going to open a store, but they have no idea that, you know, what that really means.
Okay, so I'm going to pick that as an example. If I was going to be somebody that's going to open up a boutique, okay, of women our age that wanted to look really awesome, but you know, had a plan in my head, how would I take that plan? What would be the first step? What would I do?
I think you need to have the business plan, for sure.
Yeah.
It's not really something that I do, people need to come to me with that.
Yeah.
And they need to know, they need to find a space, they need to, you know, this is all part of the budget planning, but they need to actually have studied where the good location is going to be for them. You know, if you want to be in some, you know, in a space that has, is going to attract baby boomers, you might want to be in a different area. If you want to be selling lingerie, you might be in a different area. Or women our age, you might definitely have a, you know, different kind of demographic from lots of different areas, so they need to understand that first.
Well, it's interesting because in retail or in residential design, I mean, one of the things that you're always taught is location, location, location.
Yeah.
So apparently that's very
Absolutely.
true in
Absolutely.
retail design as well.
Yes.
So, and then tailoring, I guess, your store to, as you said, the demographics as well as what your store offers.
Yes.
Okay, so just as an example, it's fashion that I'm offering. So I've got my location. I'm attracting women that are of our mellow and magnificent age.
Yes.
And who wants to look the best. I've got my business plan in place. I found, kind of an upscale boutique area that I want to set up in. I've got maybe 1,000 square feet, okay? And I've got natural daylight because I thought that was important. Now what?
Well, I think it's a lot bigger than that.
No,
It's
I can't just do that.
imagine, right? It's a lot bigger. People, they have to realize what their true budgets are. Yes, they found the space, and yes, they think they can, work with that space, and they've built somewhat of a business plan. But they still come to me and they say, well, I'm going to open in a month.
Oh, so
And,
there's not
and
really
there
realistic.
isn't, they're not realistic. They don't have a proper budget. They don't really know what that means. They've maybe even missed the buying seasons, because in retail there are only two major buying seasons, spring and fall. And, it's all right to say, well, I'm going to open in September, but they needed to have bought the goods way back in February for that. So the timing is has a lot to do with this as well.
So planning is key.
Planning is key. Yes.
So do you help your clients with the planning process?
Absolutely. Yeah, we help them. I'm working on something right now and have given a proposal for the work. But the question was asked, would it be better if we waited till December instead of October? I said, absolutely. That will make it the possibility that you can then buy in the right season, and we're not just scrambling to find goods for the store.
Okay, so do you hear what she's saying? I mean, the thing is that when you bring in a specialist such as Heddy, they're not there to, push you to create something that you don't want or believe in. They want she wants you to be a success. So even if she has to slow you down,
Yes.
part of the slowing down is so that you can, enter into the marketplace you want to go into, I believe, with a much more profitable
Right.
direction. Is that correct?
Absolutely. So there's all the planning part, and then the store has to represent who you are. So recently, again, there was a new renovation, of a renovation that had been done 5 years ago and was absolutely perfect. But it wasn't the image of the new owner. So a new design plan came up and was worked through, and now it represents that owner, and that's very exciting. It's exciting for me.
Yeah.
It's exciting for the owner.
Yeah, you're putting your own
Because it's
personal
like,
stamp.
absolutely. And it's just like in a home. Every home is different, and every retail store should be different. And the most exciting part is when you're working with the moms and pops of, I know that's kind of an outdated term these days, independence. Independence. But they really have a vested interest. It's not like a big corporate chain of stores where no one really gets any to say on the design other than the owners, which are, so far removed. So it's very exciting working with independents. Making them feel at home, making them feel incredible when they walk into their stores.
You know what? So I guess residential and retail are similar that way.
Yes.
I mean, when I'm doing residential or custom homes, it's all around my clients. It's all
Absolutely.
around them. It has nothing to do with me. It's all around them.
Yeah.
So in retail, when you're dealing with boutique owners, we'll call them boutique owners,
Yeah.
or independents,
Yeah.
it is all about them and how do they carry their best style, right? Because birds of a feather, right, will attract
Yes.
their clientele.
Yeah.
So you help them do that.
I help them do that.
That's pretty awesome.
It is.
That's pretty awesome. Okay, so what do you think is the biggest challenge in the retail industry right now?
Well, that's a toughie. Again, I think it has to do with,
Especially dealing with, just as an aside, especially dealing with the independents, as if you're just starting a small business.
being realistic about budgets.
Yeah,
They need to have a really clear idea of who they are as a person, who they want to sell to, what that might look like. They've probably done quite a bit of homework themselves on it. They'll have a design idea,
yeah,
but then to keep them current. And I think even more important than that, okay, so we get up, we're started, we're open,
yeah,
and 5 years down the line, I want to be moving them forward. I don't want to be leaving them back in the 80s or whatever, decade it was. I want them to look fresh because people today have access to the instant internet.
yes,
They're on Pinterest and all the other social media. They know what's happening, and
yeah,
yet they're still stuck there. I see them with the colors of the 80s, the colors of the 90s, and they need to have change. They need
Yeah.
to have a fresh look, or people will be going elsewhere.
yeah, yeah. So that's true. So how long would you say in the retail industry does a trend last? How long is a trend?
What trend? So fad would be quickie,
Trend
trend would
today,
be
long
longer.
later.
Yeah, exactly. A trend, large shopping centers will make you do leasehold improvements I think maximum would probably be 7 years. So I would think every 5 to 7 years you
Is when
must be updating in some way.
Okay. And that's so that you can stay current with and be in touch.
And
because
being in touch.
I think the world is moving in a very fast way. As you said, instant access to pretty much everything. So you have to be, would you even suggest that the stores have a website or an online store or anything like that when you're talking to them?
I think the mover and shaker in the world of retail right now, according to Heddy here, is that,
Well, we are talking to the
yeah,
expert.
we are, would be anthropology. Anthropology really gets it. They are recycling and upcycling materials. They're presenting gift with fashion. The staff is incredible.
Explain to those that don't know who anthropology is.
Anthropology is an American-owned chain of stores, of which we have 2 here in our local market. I don't really know a whole lot about them, but I am excited to be in their stores to see the merchandising, the craftsmanship, the quality of the goods.
So you like the direction?
I love the direction, and when I'm talking to people who are saying, maybe they're just a clothing retailer and they're thinking, a retailer, and they're trying to update their store and they're thinking, well, maybe I should bring in some gifts, or I'd like to bring in some gifts, and I'm thinking, hallelujah, that's a great idea. So, it means a little bit of restructuring, different space plans. It's exciting. And I think, you can have that one-shop store. You can go into Anthropology at Christmas time, you can buy yourself a new outfit and some awesome gifts and be inspired by the decor and the flooring and the, dressing rooms, and it's exciting.
It's interesting that you say that. I was in Art Nap recently.
Yeah, exciting.
And it is, I'm going like, wait a second, this is a plant store. No, it's not. It's got all of these, like you say, gifts, and male and female. And I walked in there and going, I'm not sure where I am, but it's kind of cool. So I get what you're saying. So there are different people that are, I guess, maybe marrying the big box idea, but customizing it for their client and making sure that their client feels special all the time.
You're in an open air outside mall and you're going from store to store to store. Maybe you went in looking for some capris, but suddenly, you found the capris and you found the scarf and the jewelry and the candle, and suddenly you have a big package, where if you had just been in the fashion store, you would have found the capris, and hopefully, you found a top and a scarf to go with them, but you wouldn't have stayed in the store as long.
But do you not think that possibly that's diluting what your message is if you have too many of those gifts items? Like, are you not turning yourself into a mini little big shop?
No, because the buying is really separate. the buying is really personal. I don't think so.
No?
No.
So would you suggest that that's maybe your favorite type of retail space to do then? Because I see you light up when you talk about it.
Well, I've been to tiny little towns and walked in, we think, backing up here, we think that walking into a crisp, new, modern, white store is, maybe what it's supposed to look like. And yeah, they are beautiful, and there are great examples. But I've been into tiny little stores in like northern BC or Skagway, Alaska that, they have bed springs over the cash desk and stuff hanging from it and antiques on the wall, and those stores give experiences that I don't think you get in a crispy white store. And yes, I built the crispy white stores. And I do like them, and I'm proud of them.
But I guess that's the beauty of being a creative.
Yeah.
And in retail, you are customizing the design around what your clients want.
Absolutely, it's not really about me.
No. There you go. So if your client wants the crisp white look, you can give them the crisp white look.
Yes.
If they want the eclectic or
Yeah.
more of a, homespun look, you can give them that as well.
Yes, absolutely.
And so what if they want that crisp white look, but they're in a tiny little town of more of a cottage? What would you say to them if they were going to put a store in that was a crisp white city store in a tiny little town like Segway?
That person going to that small little town expects a whole lot of different things
Yes.
from that retailer. And I don't think that retailer would actually want that kind of store. That's my experience.
But what I'm saying is if you had somebody that came in from a very big city and decided that they were going to take their vision of this very crisp white, would you maybe advise them that that's not really the type of demographics that would appreciate your wonderful?
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, Jen. I think that my expertise would possibly suggest to them
Yeah.
that maybe that's not quite the right mix for this community.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's part of, what we do as designers and,
Yeah.
merchandisers and everything else. We help our clients make good decisions. And sometimes they don't really like to hear that. Right?
Yeah, I find people pretty receptive.
Yes. They are, and I'd say that they'll have an initial reaction and then they realize, what? Sometimes when you tell people the real story, you create more of a sense of trust and value because they realize that, okay, but it's still their decision.
Absolutely.
100% their decision.
If they want the white store, they're going to get the white store.
Exactly.
Yes.
But not without you explaining the possible downsides to that store in that location.
Absolutely.
So that's, all right, so there is one of those wonderful items. We're going to take a quick break here, and I'm going to be right back with Heddy, and we have a few more questions for her, so we'll take a break right now, and we'll be right back.